I've been asked many times over the years about child voice acting, how it works, whether there are any special requirements. So I'm finally getting round to putting my experience out there. So, like many voiceover households, our first toe dip in the water was many years ago when I was asked by a client whether my daughter Jess does voiceovers too, and would she be interested in auditioning for a job. She'd never expressed an interest in joining me in the booth, and although she wasn't what I'd describe as a performing child, she was an avid reader, so we gave it a go. She was 8 at the time. We had a bit of fun in the booth for the audition, and I prepped her for the potential disappointment of not actually booking the job. The ratio of jobs to bookings is a difficult thing to get your head around at that age. But typically, just to prove me wrong, she booked the job and went on to have a wonderful experience being directed by a brilliant production team who got an excellent performance out of her. Have a listen.
Winning the 880-yard relay with a time of 1 minute 30 and 1/10 seconds.
When you were little, you had an idea. You said you wanted to be faster than the wind, faster than time, in whatever you did.
On the winner's platform.
Sometimes you fell, you lost, you won. You said you never gave up. You got faster and faster and faster and faster. You said something else got more important. You said you wanted to stop sometimes, to pause, but you couldn't.
So that was just a little snippet, and of course, all these years later, her voice has matured. But it gives you an idea of the kind of jobs kids can get involved in at quite a young age. Now, although that all sounded rather straightforward, there was a little bit more to it than that behind the scenes. One thing that people don't realise is needed is that every child in the UK under the age of 16 has to have a licence to take part in paid work. This licence is issued by the local authority that the child resides in. Each local authority manages this slightly different, and some say for voiceover work, certain types it's not needed, but in the main most. But usually needs an application for a performance licence for each individual job. The licence, quite rightly, is there to protect your child, so is a necessary burden, I'm afraid. It details a range of information like who the company is that's employing the child, how much time the performance will take, where it will be recorded, how much they'll get paid, and who will be involved in the process. All the things you'd expect to see. So my first top tip, if you're considering applying for one, is to have all that information to hand about the job itself and also personal information, including your child's birth certificate and recent photo, everything you might need to have about the child before making an application. Many councils will have an online process, but it is helpful, I found, to introduce yourself to the licensing team. This way, if there are any queries, you've established a rapport to get them ironed out as quickly as possible. On that note, usually if the performance is a simple session after school, for example, a licence is issued very quickly. I've had a 24-hour turnaround here in Leicester, but it's important to be clear with whoever you're working with that a licence can take up to 10 to 14 days and needs to be issued before the work takes place, not retrospectively. Just as a heads up too, some local authorities require a timesheet type approach through the year to register the cumulative time spent performing. We have to do that for our local authority, and various policies in place, such as child protection, especially if you're working with children wider than your own. Then all you need, I say all, is time, patience, and lots of words of encouragement to get them through a session, sometimes easier when someone else is directing them. So, in short, my top tips are: be clear with your client that more time than usual is needed to get the necessary paperwork in place. Consider befriending your local authority licensing team and/or child employment welfare officer. This can save you a ton of time in the long run. Have them as prepared as you'd be for a direct session. Warm-ups, drink, confidence boost, etc. And make sure you've got the tech side well and truly covered so they can sail through a session. Jess isn't with an agent. We simply respond to requests when they come in, and she works around school hours and has gone on to voice a variety of genres now: corporate work, e-learning. Her latest performance can be heard at the newly refurbished National Children's Museum at Sudbury Hall, a UK National Trust property. I'll leave you with this snippet of her and her co-performer Benjamin Slocum as they welcome you to the museum and hopefully entice you in to experience all the exciting new activities. If you've got any further questions about our experience, or you've got something in mind that you think Jess would be suitable for, then please do get in touch.
Oh, look! We have some new visitors.
Awesome! Thanks for joining us at the Children's Country House at Sudbury. Now be sure to walk carefully, visitors. You're standing on something special.
It's just a floor. I mean, it looks nice enough.
No, it's not just a floor. It's a pathway to our museum. That's all about childhood.
That's right. When you go around the museum, really think about what you see. Imagine the different children throughout the ages who would have played with these objects. Imagine the journey each object embarked on before it came to live at our museum.
Bring the untold stories to life with your friends and family, and never be afraid to ask our helpful staff for more info.
Lastly, have fun and don't be a stranger. Come back and visit us anytime.